What's up, guys? It's B Ilio with another video. Don't ever call me that, by the way. About to get hit by a truck, actually, so this might be my last video. Oh my god. Okay, survived. See, I should start recording like when I'm on a main road. Note to self. Okay. So I'm making this video again, coming back from the gym, and I'm making this video about how, and this isn't like anything revolutionary, but it's kind of just a refresher. I know definitely to myself about the importance of reading, and this is a crazy one. So I feel like for the past, I don't know, I'd say like 3 months of my life, I got so busy and probably a little more overwhelmed than I should have been over the past 3 months. And the past 2 days, I felt this sense of like clarity and intense productivity and just like mental balance, I guess, and this sense of preparedness. And the one thing that I really changed was I integrated more reading into my daily schedule. And so with the nature, I think this is especially important for people under the age of 35 watching this video, I would argue, because reading is so important, because especially if you're doing something that's entrepreneurial or innovative in any way, and a lot of different pursuits apply to this, like being a musician, for example, obviously being a business owner, and learning as you go, especially doing like marketing type stuff, because there's so much you can always learn about marketing unless you're experienced again. And I've been doing this for a while. Even if you are experienced, there's always so much to learn because of all the developments online, especially with digital advertising and marketing. These are just a couple examples of like things where what you do every day isn't 100% clear cut and involves a lot of volatility and a lot of self-directed action, planning, and education. So I find this incredibly important. The whole notion of cutting out time to read consistently. So one area of my life where I noticed a bit of a motivation plateau in was exercising. So I got into a routine, and I think that's good, right? I built the habit of going to the gym and going through a set of core exercises daily, right? But after a point, we all know that, if you guys are any avid lifters out there, once you get into a routine, it can get boring. Your muscles can hit a plateau. It can get repetitive. You start dreading going to the gym instead of experimenting and having fun and shocking your muscles. And so what I did was I actually cut some time out of my schedule to reread some of the best diet, health, fitness books that actually got me into the gym in the first place years ago, prior to me ever really taking my health super, super seriously. So I reread a lot of these books and some new information, and I go to the gym today with just a much more like prepared, simplistic, confident, structured, yet experimental mindset. And it's just like this completely different experience. I'm experiencing this also in my businesses that I'm running right now. The core business that I'm running right now, more so than my side businesses. And I've been spending so much time grinding over the past couple of months because there were some tough deadlines. But I got to a point where I achieved all of the two core goals I had to. One had to do with a web creation project, and the other had to do with a search engine marketing project. So I completed both of these for the company, and I got to a point yesterday where I was like, okay, I can keep grinding and trying stuff and failing and getting super focused on one task that isn't necessarily productive and block everything else out and stop, educating myself and trying to find hacks in what I'm doing, or I can find hacks in what I'm doing, and I can learn from others' mistakes, and I can start dedicating more time to look at how-to information, step-by-step information from experts, from people who are 1 or 2 notches ahead of me too, not necessarily those 10 out of 10s out there. And I just saw a huge, profound difference. I also started reading up on productivity again. And these are all just little tiny things, like little articles that are just reminding me of the tenets of staying productive, not being super fixated or obsessed with one task, and kind of taking aerial perspective, or not multitasking. That's another big thing that I was struggling with, was multitasking, and liking it for some reason, even though it's way less productive. And I read a couple things on productivity to remind myself about it, and I'm immediately understanding how to list 1 or 2 core tasks, how to segment my focus time and relaxation time so I'm more productive during the 50 to 90 minutes that I spend focusing on completing task 1 and task 2. Another big thing I forgot about, because I got so, this is going to sound kind of weird, to me it's not at all, I'm very open about what I read about, how to bring humor into your life, right? I was getting so type A with what I was doing, and I bought this book called How to Be Funny, and it's my theory that everyone's funny in some way. We all have, the more authentic we're being, the more disarming funny we're going to be, right? And books like this, I've read books on humor before. I've actually taken improv comedy courses and acting courses. And books like this just remind you that it's okay to be yourself. One of the core traits of being humorous is being, self-amused and self-depreciating. Not to a depressing extent, but just being light on yourself, understanding the little stupid things you do throughout your day, the stupid things you worry about, the stupid mistakes you make, the things you forget at the house, the stupid things you say, whatever, right? Making fun of these things shows people that you're human. And I don't know about you guys, but when I get into a super work-focused state, I lose track of stuff like that. And this happened to me mostly through school, because I was so type A through school. Because I kept a 4.0 for 2.5 years or so while I was in school, which was probably the worst decision of my life, to be honest, because I set the goal to do that, and it was probably the goal that I reached that had the least positive returns out of any goal I've really set. I know that's probably harsh. I'm not saying don't do good in school, but I am saying if you are in school, educate yourself in the real world first. But I read a book. I read an entire book from start to finish on how to be funny. It's a great book. It just reminds you just to take yourself more lightly, just to stay up on the things that are funny, just to bring a little bit of joy to people's days. Had I not read this, I probably would have stayed a lot more type A yesterday, the day before I started reading. And I would be probably a little more type A right now. And I still get into that state. Don't get me wrong, but it's just cool to have these pointers, to have these core components of your life, to be constantly stoking your mind with the relevant information within each of those components of your life. So just think of it, right? I educated myself on productivity in business, and also specific marketing strategies I'm using, right? So specific business, productivity, health, right? Keeping me motivated in the gym, understanding the purpose, my body composition goals. So that's, my business, health. Another thing I would say is kind of, the whole comedy thing is kind of, it helps with relationships, I would say. So it's kind of like within that category. I'm kind of like educating myself socially, in business, in my health. And it's like, I feel this completely different state right now, like an authentic, just like prepared state, just by reading a little bit in each of these categories and immediately applying it. And reminding myself of this stuff, because this is all stuff I've read before. And So it's just so profound to me. Like, you can see I'm kind of at a little bit of a loss for words because it's just so profound. And, I think everyone should take, 25% plus or minus of their work day educating themselves. And I mean, yeah, it's all cool to like tell people that you're like this intense hustler, and yes, you do have to hustle, right? But if you don't know what the hell you're hustling at, like if you grew up playing football your whole life and then you don't make it to college to play college football, and then you're stuck in a accounting job, or something maybe a little more innovative, maybe you start your own business. If you have been obsessed with one thing your whole life, and then you expect to just be able to take educated, productive, smart action in a completely different domain immediately, I mean, it's pretty irrational. I hope you would agree with that. I think it's really irrational, right? Because you had coaches in football, and the way that I look at it is, whatever you were doing when you were younger, typically we have coaches, right? We have mentors of some sort. And as we get older and we leave school, especially when we graduate from college, we're kind of deprived of mentors. And I think the bridge between mentorship in college, and a lot of us don't really look up to our professors, to be honest. So kind of mentorship stops when you stop doing extracurricular activities in like high school. That's kind of just a theory of mine. But, I look at reading as kind of like a gateway. It's kind of like a bridge of mentorship until you really know what you want to do. It's kind of like, and it's something that should continue for the rest of your life, right? It's not just like use this bridge when you come out of college, you read books, you learn from smart people and their concepts and ideas, and then you stop. No, it's like you kind of build up this momentum as you're coming out of school, and you realize that, what you're learning in school is not necessarily practical, and the importance of learning from people who've done big stuff out in the actual real world applying to your goals is much more important. So you start reading books, and this replaces the mentorship that maybe you didn't even get in college. Maybe you only got a little bit, and then when you graduate you feel like you have none, and then you pick up a book, right? And you're like, wow, like I can learn from Elon Musk, I can learn from Richard Branson, I can learn from some of the biggest musicians out there. I can learn from the biggest music industry professionals. I can learn from the best diet coaches, and they can tell me about the problems that people have with motivation and tracking their body fat and body composition, and practical things that people struggle with in each of the core areas of life, not these theories that they teach you in school. And you start opening yourself up to a practical, educated world. And that's what reading has done for me. It's opened up possibilities, and it's reduced my rate of failure, and it's made me feel more prepared in almost every situation in my life. So to conclude this video, I think we all should read more. I think we should spend I would argue around 15% of our entire day educating ourselves, if not more. And it's just the benefits that I've experienced in my life have just been profound. So read.